Hey guys, good morning again. Hope you have some great stuff that you wrote down. Hey, look, one thing I would love is I always love it when we're using the chat thing, of course, because people are engaging and participating. Write something down in the chat, something that you're grateful for this week. I know that it's always a fun. Wow, look, someone said I'm grateful for Jeremy. That's Russ. It's got to be Russ. All right. Hey, but see, in all seriousness, write something down, something that you're grateful for that you wrote down in your journal. If you didn't write down in your journal this morning, um, write something down that you would have written in your journal. How about that? So, hey, you guys are amazing for being here. Thank you. One of the great things that I continue to study on and on and on is, well, actually, I'm going to make a note first of just remembering the time of year that we're in. Look, great time of year to um, just have an awesome experience and change your life right now. And that sounds so dramatic and so big, uh, but it's true. And I know that. I know it from experience. I know from observing agents for the last 15 years of watching them make a decision to change their lives and grow. And this is a great time to do that. And the reason why is because it allows you right now to finish out this year strong, 2020, and start 2021 hitting the ground running. And can you imagine what that can do for your career? Imagine what that can do for a jump start for you. So yesterday during the coaching call, I spent a few minutes discussing like some of the cool stuff that we could be doing right now and kind of like this focus that you can have. And look, I'll say it again and again. We cannot take you and like put the phone in your hand and dial numbers for you, right? It's not going to work that way. So we can't do that. But what we can do is we can give you focus. We can give you things to focus on. And I can't get in front of you in good conscience without talking to you about what your focus should be right now. Your focus should be on continuing to speak with people, continuing to focus on setting an appointment each day. Yesterday, the number was 25. Today's the number is 24. 24 business days through the end of this year that you can set an appointment every day and make things happen. Can you imagine how powerful that would be to your business and your career? I guarantee you'll squeak one more deal out this year if you do that, and you'll be having a few deals under contract moving forward. And I was thinking about that last night, and I think it's Sleep Number mattresses or something like that. They have this thing. It's like, what's your number? Right. And the number is like, I guess, the sleep setting that you have. I should learn. I'm sure my wife would love one of these mattresses. But think about this from a business standpoint. Like, what is your number? Okay. What is your number right now? What's your number for the next 6 weeks, for today? I've told the story and I love it when George asked Dave Parker and I 12 or 13 years ago the question, how many deals are you going to put under? I think it was, how many listings are you going to put under contract this week? And I just remember being dumbfounded, like, what kind of a question is that? I can't control that. And I've learned so much from then, realizing that, look, we were in this market where I was allowing the market to control me at the time. And I was seeing great success, but wow, could have had so much more if I had changed what was going on between my ears. And that was a great learning moment. So for you, what's your number? Control what you can control. You can control how many people you speak with. You can control how many people that you set appointments with. You can control that, guaranteed. So please stay focused on that. Get the energy. I mean, I've seen people do all sorts of fun stuff with this. It could be that you throw something out on the Century 21 Everest Facebook chat thing that's going on. It could be that you create one of those like paper chains or whatever that like every day you get to rip one off when you've completed. I don't know what you need to do, but get something visually going that's going to help you accomplish what you need. Okay, next, Jim Rohn, one of my favorite mentors in the world. He has all the great topics of things that are so important to all of us, which include time management, just everything that you can imagine from leadership, time management, goal setting, right? Accounting stuff, all of that. Like he handles all of that stuff so well. Um, Couple things I'm going to actually note. I've been reading this book recently called The Path. It's a book written by Peter Mallouk and Tony Robbins. This is an awesome book. The whole goal of this book is, I mean, the back of it says, regardless of your stage in life and current financial picture, the quest for financial freedom can indeed be conquered. This is written in the middle of the COVID pandemic. And I find that interesting simply because it's so new, so relevant, and squashes a lot of the things that might be inhibiting us right now, just from a financial standpoint. So I just want to recommend this. Again, it's called The Path. You want to take a look at that. Okay, so Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins is a huge fan of Jim Rohn. Leadership. One of his topics consistently that he talks about is leadership. And boy, if there's one thing I've found over the years, it's that entrepreneurs, they love to give back to people. Entrepreneurs typically want to be able to speak well and speak in a public situation well. They want to be able to be inspiring and be motivating to others. And they want to be good leaders. And they want to have a good reputation, right? And so most of them, right? But my experience is that that's a lot of entrepreneurs, and the real estate agents are entrepreneurs. I hope that you feel that way. You've taken a huge risk and paid dollars up front to create this business that you now have. And so Jim Rohn talks a lot about leadership and how to be a great leader. And, you know, I talked a moment ago about that paper chain. Well, he talks about, actual chains for a moment, the metal chains and stuff. And think about the phrase, there's a chink in your armor, right? One of the pieces of metal is a little bit weaker, or a weak link in a chain, right? It ruins the whole purpose of the chain if there's a weak link. And so he talks about that as it relates to character. And when you think about what character is and the definition of character, he says and believes there's 6 essential traits to good character. And that's what I want to share with you guys this morning really quickly. I know our time's always so short, but if you have a pen and a paper, write these down, or if you're on your phone, you can put them in your notes. But these are really great. And I'll note before I say these, even even I, like I'm important. I'm the one presenting, so I'm saying it that way. Rick's laughing at me, so he knows how unimportant I am. I'm saying that from the standpoint that I'm sitting in front of you presenting on this topic. Guys, we are not perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. George, Rick, John, Sam, anybody, right? And everybody acknowledges it. We're all on this great journey together. And I worry sometimes, boy, when we talk about things in Morning Ascent or sales meetings and stuff, just acknowledge and be okay with the fact that you're not perfect and nobody's perfect. And if you can just get a little better, that's the purpose of being here this morning, isn't it? That's the purpose of participating, is just trying to get a little better. And that's what I worry about when I'm going to share 6 traits of character. Don't be hard on yourself. I had a moment myself this morning where I was kind of being a little too hard on myself, where I almost didn't give this message. And I thought, no way. Like, I believe every principle that I'm going to talk about. And it's nothing glaring or horrible, but it's just like, oh, okay, it's just interesting. So 6 essential traits of good character. And Jim Rohn says, miss one of these and you'll find a weak link in your character, and one that maybe your leadership's undoing. So who are you a leader to? Well, certainly the people you love, certainly the people that are surrounding you. Who do you want to be a leader to is maybe a great question. Who do you hope to lead? Who do you hope to inspire, to motivate? Who do you hope to help grab onto and bring them to the next level, right? Your clients, coworkers, other people within the industry, investors, you name it, guys. So here's 6 great traits. Number 1, integrity. Okay, integrity is a great catchword, he states. And here's one of the things: says the root of integrity means whole or undivided. So that's a terrific way to help you understand what integrity is: an undivided life. So think about that. Integrity. Do you have integrity? What areas? I mean, probably if you're like me, you've got great integrity in some areas you need to be better in, right? He states here, a wall, he's another use for the word integrity that provides insight for us is when the word is used regarding a physical structure. A wall or a building that is strong and has no cracks is said to have integrity. The same could be said for great leaders. Isn't that cool? Oh, Christine just wrote integrity starts with I. I love that. And it goes on to talk about accountability as well. So well said. Number 2, honesty. Okay, it's regularly said that honesty is the best policy. But I would add, honesty is the only policy for great leaders. And then Jim Rohn goes on to ask this great question. Why do people hedge the truth? Okay, think about it. Why do they hedge the truth? Usually for a few basic reasons. They're either afraid of the ramifications or they are trying to hide something. Either way, a lack of honesty results in the fact that you destroy the trust of those that follow you. Even if you tell them the truth, but they know you've lied to others, it will destroy the trust you have with them. So think about that, guys. Think about the honesty that you're using in your sales world, right? Think about your honesty you're using. I mean, we see things all the time. Actually had a few sad experiences within the company where an agent was dishonest in a very significant way that felt very minor in the beginning, and then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger and resulted into something. Eventually, one agent that was a great agent and a good profitable agent for this organization that we had to invite to leave the company because of something that started out so small and basically like little crack in the foundation, that just grew bigger and bigger. Number 3, loyalty. People of good character are loyal people. They have a stick-to-it attitude when it comes to others. Anybody who knows human nature knows that people fail. It's just a matter of time. No matter how talented a person is, a person of good character stays with their friends even in the down times. Haven't you heard that before, especially with like big public things that have gone wrong for people and privately as well? But you hear that statement of, wow, I really learned who my friends were in this moment. Have you heard that phrase before? I really figured out who my friends were. I mean, you've got to decide for yourself. Look, what does loyalty mean to you? But wow, it is definitely a trait of good character. And if you can have loyalty in your lives, if you can be loyal, show loyalty, it's pretty important and critical. I'm trying to think of some good examples right now that I want to share in this group of loyalty, but I could tell you actually an interesting one that you might find interesting or not. But we created, Dave Parker and I created a real estate brokerage in 2008, and immediately hired George Morris as our coach. And it was great relationship and everything was wonderful. We went about another year, and then George called us up on the phone one day and said, "Hey guys, I want to tell you something, and I just want you to know this is going to have zero impact on your lives at all. I'm going to start my own real estate brokerage." Well, you can imagine, here's this guy that we look up to, that we're paying money to be our coach, and he's going to go now become our biggest competitor. And I have to tell you, we were scared out of our minds at that moment. And George made some statements there. First phone call of, maybe to the chagrin of some of his business partners, I don't know, of the idea of like, we're not going to make this affect Dave and Jeremy's company. And what was so cool is that over the course of the next 4 years, as we competed cooperatively together, George was always loyal to that agreement, and we were always loyal back to him. None of us ever signed anything. None of us ever had a letter sent from an attorney to say, this is what we're agreeing to together. It was simply, we were loyal to each other. And we were loyal to George because of what he had done for us. and the difference he'd made in our lives. And what's so crazy is that we had people sometimes coming from his company that were friends and new people at our company that would say, I just want to be a part of your company. I'm leaving George anyway. And guys, it was just a non-negotiable thing for us. And we had to say, I'm sorry, we welcome you to go anywhere else, but we won't bring someone in from that company. And there were many times we would get phone calls from the recruiting department or Rob Oakey maybe, or Belladonna or something saying, hey, I'm really sorry, I accidentally called one of your agents, blah, blah, blah. You know, guys, talk about a great situation with character, with loyalty. This was a great one. Number 4, self-sacrifice. You guys may remember Lee Iacocca, big CEO, president. Oh, there's Rob. He's on the thread. CEO of Chrysler. Lee Iacocca became a legend when he said he'd bring Chrysler back from the brink of bankruptcy and would only take $1 a year in pay. Classic example of leaders sacrificing for their followers. Isn't that so cool? Think about the different ways that leaders have sacrificed in the past and done things. It's pretty interesting. I know we're a little bit short on time, but even well, you know what? I was going to talk about some of the politics going on, but I'm thinking I better not. I probably better not. I'm not going to. But it's nothing crazy. I was just going to comment on, if you haven't read this, I'll just share with you this. George H.W. Bush. This is not, I'm not declaring any political statements here or any of my affiliations or anything. I'm just talking about one person doing something great. And if you read the letter that George H.W. Bush wrote in the Oval Office to Bill Clinton as he was coming in, you talk about this idea of self-sacrifice, humility and stuff. Go read that letter. It is such a cool story. I think you'll really like it. So I think Rick, did I say okay there? All right. Rick's giving me the thumbs up, guys. I'm not worried about it. All right. So self-sacrifice. Look, if you look at John C. Maxwell, and John C. Maxwell talks about the 5 levels of leadership. Okay. 5 levels of leadership. And in there, somebody first becomes a leader because of a position. They're given a position, so they're a leader. So let's say somebody is given the job to be a broker at our company, or your broker, okay? Well, they're your leader and a leader simply because they have a title. That's level 1 leadership. But what starts to happen is that person does more and more for you, more and more for the company, takes your calls at 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock at night on a weekend to help you, self-sacrificing, time that they're doing with others. It's just as an example. You're going to then start to appreciate them and love them at a different level. And they're going to be your leader now at a different level, not because of the title they hold, because of what they do for you, because what they're bringing to your life and the influence they're having in your life. And often that creates some great, it involves self-sacrifice, and it creates some great relationship. So listen to this statement. He says, people of good character don't use other people, period. So when a leader shows sacrifice of personal gain, it says to the followers that they are willing to come alongside of them, and followers reward that almost universally. A person of good character shows that they can give up personal gain for the good of the whole. Really cool. And that's, again, Lee Iacocca, right? Took $1 salary in order to make things better for the organization. Okay, a couple more. I know we got to go. Number 5, accountability. Listen to this. People of good character do not mind accountability. In fact, they welcome it. This is the act of allowing others to have a say in your life, to speak to you straight about your life and conduct. Guys, we are so imperfect, every one of us, and we are going to fail over and over and over. One of the greatest chances for your success is if you allow someone to hold you accountable. Allow someone to hold you accountable to the daily actions that will help you achieve your dreams. remember that it's kind of like this big mountain that you're trying to climb, and you have a pathway to get there. The pathway requires steps, climbing, achieving different benchmarks. And so you have to have a clear path. Last time I spoke about goal setting and the critical nature of having goals be measurable. As you think about that and you think about accountability, it is so critical that you have accountability in place, because the accountability, it's not there to make your life miserable. It's not there to it's just that, make your life miserable. It is there to protect your dreams. And so whatever you have as accountability, whether it's just you care enough about your word, like I remember George is famous for doing these big accountability things. I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this. I'm sure he won't, but I know he'd done something with an agent, which was like a $5,000 accountability, right? So George said, if I don't do fill in the blank, I will give you $5,000, right? And that's a ton of money. But George was so committed to it, right? Because you have to pick something that you're like, I'm not going to do it. Afterwards, I spoke to George briefly about it, and I was like, $5,000 or something. And the thing that he said to me was, I would not lose this. It has nothing to do with the money at this point. I wouldn't want to go back to that individual and tell them I'd failed. Think about that. It was more essential to him and more important to him that he had that he didn't have to go tell someone that he failed than to lose the money. Obviously, the money helps, right? It keeps somebody else engaged as well. But I love the idea, like, who in your life, right? That's one of the things with accountability. Send it out there to the whole universe of saying, like, this is what I'm going to do. Put it on Facebook, social media. If you're really committed to something and you want to be held accountable, send it out to the universe and say, I'm going to do this. Tell people about it. Let the whole world know. One other funny story I have to tell you about George with accountability. Many of you know John Rhodes. He's a great man, and love him. And he's been a part of this company for years and years. He once had an accountability with George, and George was going to lose a certain amount of weight or something, or else give John money. And they came to an agreement on everything, like at 9 o'clock in the morning. And at about 2 p.m. that afternoon, John had left on George's desk this giant chocolate muffin with a note that said, enjoy, George, it's delicious. Just, it's another great accountability partner right there, just kind of really holding your feet to the fire. You do want them to be cheering for you. So, all right, guys, number 6 is self-control. Listen to this. The ability to make decisions, good decisions, about what we will and we will not do with our actions, as at the core of what we become in regard to our character. Think about the people that you admire the most. Think about the leaders that you love out there, and think about that phrase, self-control, right? With their emotions, the habits in their lives, the way that they treat people. I mean, think about that. Even frustrating moments, perhaps the way that they respond, just the ability to show some self-control. And man, I have to tell you, I mean, when you think about that, I'm just thinking of that, and it's discipline that I'm thinking about. And there's so many people that I could name right now. I'm not going to name, but there's a few people going through my mind right now that I'm like, wow, they epitomize discipline. They know what works. They show up and they do it every day. So self-control is also essential. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. Thanks for participating on the chat line. I think we've got a few comments on there. Guys, take a look at this stuff. If you haven't read it yet, go read some stuff from Jim Rohn. It's Jim, R-O-H-N. First time I heard his name, I thought George was talking about the ESPN sports guy on the radio. It is not Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn. So anyway, hope you guys will take some time to go read some of his stuff. It's awesome. Thanks for being here in Morning Ascent today. Remember, what is your number? 24 appointments set between now and the end of the year, guys. It will change your life. Be a leader, hold yourself accountable, show some self-control, Get out there and get it done. It will change your life. It'll change your holidays. It will make 2021 your best year ever. Let's roll with some closing affirmations.